Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brock Beard from lastcar.info, and welcome to Behind the Wall, the post-race show that comes on after the race, where unofficially, pending the results of post-race inspection, Tyler Reddick has pulled off a dramatic victory in the Daytona 500, the first for 2311, the first for him personally. A tremendous moment for driver and team in a race that had a little bit of everything. I gotta say, right from the outset, I'm pretty happy with this one. I found myself really enjoying this race, and I really enjoyed the speed weeks. And I think a big part of it, and a lot of people are bringing this up already, being able to have the race finish under green. How wonderful. Even with weather on its way, NASCAR being very proactive, moving the race up an hour. It may well be the difference because the weather looked like it was coming very close to the end of this race. Indeed, actually, here on the West Coast, we actually had a winter storm warning at the same time. So it sounds like both coasts are getting hit by the same thing. But they got the whole race in, didn't have to go into overtime, went in, finished under green. My fantasy pick didn't win, but, I picked William Byron. But heck, all the stuff he went through by himself, the early wreck with B.J. McLeod, all the repairs, 3 or 4 pit stops under a caution, he was fun to watch. It came down to the end. It's a bit messy at the finish. I will concede that. I would have much rather Riley Herbst be able to play, a role where, he's trying to get maybe get 3rd or 4th position. Unfortunately, it boiled over into an accident, and you had just accident after accident on the last lap. But really at that point, again, drivers are on their best behavior, trying to kind of get to the finish there. And, honestly, after watching the 2001 Talladega race, where it had no cautions at all, and some strategy and stuff in there. I found this to be a very enjoyable race. Honestly, I didn't have too many problems with the last 2, even though I know that's kind of this latest trend in the last few 500s has been more and more about fuel mileage, and undoubtedly that was a factor here. We did have a stretch run there after the Justin Allgaier accident there, where you did have, the field pretty much blocked up there. I'm not too crazy about that, but, if the choice is between that and running single file for 50, 60 laps on end and nobody being able to duck out of line, everybody just trying to, click laps off there, I'm honestly going to go with the fuel mileage, really. Honestly, if you go back in the past, I get at the same time 3 wide isn't always, the best thing either. I remember 2003 had a beautiful race. Unfortunately, got cut short by rain, where everybody was stuck in 3 wide and nobody could really do anything. And that was kind of more at the beginning of that race. But again, I honestly didn't really have a problem with it in this one. I found it was really interesting. You had a different kind of cast of characters. I felt it was a bit closer to 2015, where you had a 3 wide pack for about the last 20 or so laps. Joey Logano was up front. In this case here, Bubba Wallace, who had a fantastic race in this, led the most laps, was at the front of the field, able to kind of maneuver which lane he wanted, and everybody else was kind of locked in the 3 wide and not able to kind of get there. But even then, you still had a little bit of movement. You had a guy like Cole Custer get up to the front of the outside line. You had other drivers that were kind of working their way up there. It felt like much more of this felt to me the closest to like a classic kind of traditional Daytona 500, probably certainly than the last few next gen car races have been. Even though, again, I didn't think that they were that bad either. I thought they had some really competitive racing. It's just unfortunate that you had last lap cautions screwing everything up. No, this felt good. You had a lot of people that got in. You had some wrecks, unavoidably. That's going to happen right from the outset. I just feel heartbroken for B.J. McLeod in a catastrophic mechanical issue that led to the first of the cautions today. But we saw a lot of use of the damaged vehicle policy zone because, of course, we have the chase back into play. We heard nothing of the championship. I didn't hear anything really brought up in it, which was wonderful. Back to being focused on just winning this race. And guys getting back out there that were maybe 5, 6, 12, 15 laps down, still finishing the race under power. None of them really being a factor in the finish of this either. You see people get lapped. We saw Cindric with damage. We saw Austin Dillon with a lot more damage, but not really being a factor in the finish of this race. I get that nothing is perfect, and we always hope for things to be better. But there was a lot of positive momentum in this one here, and yeah, most enjoyable 500 I can probably remember watching in the last few years. I'm very happy with it. So, congrats to Reddick on the win. It's the messiest part of it was like right at the end there with the wreck, and again, we'll look at the finish here and talk about that. But man, it was interesting to watch. A little, the comers and goers, a bit of strategy. I don't mind throwing the fuel mileage thing on top of it there. And it was interesting to see, who was going to be a factor in it. So, tremendous victory there. Again, unofficially, pending the results of inspection. Tyler Reddick, your race winner, leading only the final lap of the race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. dead sideways across the stripe, as well as the rest of the top five there. Stenhouse squeezing through the wreck to get up to second. He actually dropped to last place at the very beginning of this race before BJ McLeod's incident and was still running in the 41st spot when that happened. Joey Logano in third, Chase Elliott in fourth, Brad Keselowski in fifth. And I certainly understand if you're a Chase Elliott fan or a Brad Keselowski one, I could definitely see where, this one you probably wouldn't feel quite as positive about it. But these days with the closing rate on these cars and the aggression being what it is and the 500 still being as significant as it is, people are going to be going for it. And Chase Elliott had a masterful move to the lead there in turns 1 and 2 to get up there, leading on the back straightaway. Zane Smith kind of lagged back a little bit too far, but trying to make a run. And unfortunately, at the same time, you had Tyler Reddick and Riley Herbst up there. And let's give a shout out to Riley Herbst on this too. I know I mentioned it earlier, and I'm not, it's unfortunate that you had this big silly wreck that he was in the middle of it there. But he was working up there. I mean, he got up there and got Reddick the push to get to the lead. And was throwing the block on Keselowski, a bit too aggressive of one, and of course led to the accident there. But overall, given the wrecks that we saw and some of the other moves that you could really, I would see a lot more issue with the move that Justin Allgaier made on Denny Hamlin, which I think was a big turning point in this about halfway through the race. Just an absurd miscalculation there on his part that took out a lot of good cars there in that one, damaged a lot of other drivers there. That was just a mistake, and give Allgaier credit. He took blame for that incident, and rightfully so. I think that, there was some miscommunication between him and his spotter. I don't know what the traffic was there at the time. But when you're up against the wall, you move down. Hamlin's got this big run with Ryan Blaney behind him, and then you move back up again. And obviously that whole line, they can't do anything. They're just going to drive right into it. It was completely avoidable, and he really should have just held his line there. Easier said than done when you're the guy that's going, 190 miles an hour midway through the tri-oval when the car wants to snap around on its own. But that was different, a different way to look at that there too. But I found that one more outrageous than Herbst's thing at the end. At the end, it's just everybody for themselves, and whatever's going to happen, everybody's out of control. And sometimes they're going to wreck, and sometimes they're not. Yeah, I mean, the way that it traded hands here, so many drivers really impressed me in this one too. Not all of them had great finishes, unfortunately, but, at different phases of this race. And that's, I think, something that's so important for building storylines. And I hope that Fox picks up on as we go into this 26 race regular season before the chase, and knowing that it's whoever gets the most points is going to be in position, and we don't have win and you're in. I'm surprised they still have the winner's sticker. Is anybody else surprised by that? I kind of expected that maybe that was going to still be, that was going to kind of go away with winning you're in, but that's fine. You got a cool moment there with Reddick and his kid putting it on the car. But there were a lot of drivers that were very, very impressive in this. I already talked about Bubba Wallace. And again, continuing his streak, I guess it's now 10 of the last 11 Daytona races that he's led at least one lap in. This one, again, leading the most laps. Seemed like he was able to kind of shepherd the front of the field there. Really good. Probably the best overall 500 he's had, even though he's, of course, finished better with the 2 runner-up finishes. I was very impressed with him in this, and he should definitely be considered one that you have to underline when you get back out to Daytona. And we'll see what he does the rest of the season, perhaps parlay it into to next week. Another driver that I was very impressed by, especially at the beginning of the race, was Shane Van Gisbergen. For all the crap that he was getting last year about, oh, you're taking a playoff spot and this guy should have this spot. And it's like, look, the dude's figuring it out. And look at that. One rookie season, he gets up in this Daytona race, and he is right up there. He was at the bottom lane, right there with, what was it? I think John Hunter Nemechek at the beginning, getting up there to the front of the field and staying in the top 5 for a lot of it, and really only kind of dropped out of contention once that Allgaier wreck happened. Up to that point, he was very much a threat to win this race, and was very, very impressive. And it's just unfortunate it didn't work out for him, but I think it's another positive indicator going forward from here. Yes, we all would have liked to see him have a better performance in the playoffs last year. After the rough run at Darlington, it kind of didn't set the tone for him. But again, I think this is a very positive thing, and he may really be one to watch on the ovals. I know Daytona's different, and I know we got Atlanta next week, and it's going to be the same kind of thing. But if he's able to carry this over, and learn the 1.5 mile tracks, and we'll find that out very shortly, he's going to be really one to watch. So I was very impressed with him too. Another driver just mentioned just now in that, John Hunter Nemechek, really, really good at the start of this. Yes, maybe there was a fuel mileage element to it, but again, finished no worse than 11th in his first 3 Daytona 500 starts, 5th last year, leads several laps at the beginning of this, and was retaking the lead with authority at the beginning of this. I was very impressed with him in this. And, the Legacy Motor Club team, they really kind of turned things around last year. We saw this in about the first third of the season. Things kind of dropped off after that, which is unfortunate, and we still haven't seen John Hunter pull off his first win. And then this one here got damaged again in the Allgaier incident, running in the back of another car. But still, where did he even finish? He wasn't in the top 10, but it was a bit further back. 26th, 1 lap down there at the finish. But again, really showed some impressive speed there at the beginning of the race there as well. Zane Smith, my goodness. I'm glad that his Truck Series wins at Daytona were mentioned. Him getting up there and having a position to maybe do something with Chase Elliott there. Unfortunately, didn't have a teammate or somebody to work with him. But my goodness, he looked really good out there. He had some moments last season as well. That could be something that could be turned around too. And these are things, again, and I didn't sense this as much from the broadcast today, but maybe in the aggregate over these next few weeks, with that playoff thing out of the way, and with the point system being back to something closer to a full season championship, I really hope these stories don't get forgotten in these next couple weeks. And they start saying, oh, this guy had a really good run last week. Remember when he led these number of laps and all that? And we start building those storylines again, because that's what gets the fans engaged. I was seeing a lot of posts here coming into this race about just the momentum that the sport has, and the positive vibes going into this season after what was a very difficult offseason for any number of reasons. A very controversial end to the championship, and fortunately an end to that point system. But the star of this sport getting some more attention, and the sport really needed a week like this. Again, I mean, there was certainly some share of some bonehead moves out there. We'll definitely talk about in the O'Reilly Series race too, and I know which one you're thinking of, and I'm thinking of it too. And all that, but green flag finishes, good storylines, good competition out there. I don't know how much more you can really ask for it. I'm sure people are going to be disappointed about it. We'll see what's going on with the Jeff Gluck poll and everything. But personally, on my hand, I think it's kind of unreasonable to really expect more out of it. I would have loved to see an underdog winner. I would have loved to see somebody get a first-time win or a photo finish or something like that. But hell, I really enjoyed this one. I really did. So, yeah. I think that's really kind of a big part of it. Let's talk more about some of the other drivers in the field here. Talked about BJ McLeod. Again, certainly not a great day for him. I mean, just a rough situation. Probably second between, him and Anthony Alfredo. Probably had a really, really difficult speed weeks with just a few glimmers here along the way. BJ getting the spot in the field after Anthony Alfredo's disqualification, which came up right at the beginning of our Thursday show here after the duels. Gets a couple of sponsors on board, had 150 different companies reaching out to him, picked up a couple of those, and having a good run through there. It was going to be really exciting to see what he could do. And indeed, in the first 4 laps of the race, he was up to about 23rd spot, about a second half out of the lead, thoroughly in the middle of the pack. Probably could have conceivably gone up there and taken the lead during the economy run, depending on how things went. We saw him do that before at Talladega. We saw him be that fast at Atlanta before. Unfortunately, just a catastrophic mechanical issue. And kudos to those online. I saw Sebastian LaForge and Bozy on there as well, giving some very good analysis of what the exact issue there. And I retweeted both of their posts earlier there, so if you want to get some more context on that, just a catastrophic situation between the hub, the wheel bearings, the transaxle, just something all there behind the right rear wheel just completely went away, and it was just so much damage that was done to that suspension and that assembly there that when they pulled the car behind the wall, they knew in about a few seconds that they weren't going to be able to make that repair. And Sebastian pointed out, I mean, even a big team would have struggle with that kind of repair at the same time. So it ended up being a short day for BJ, and a rough afternoon for him and the Live Fast Motorsports team. Hopefully they can piece something together for Atlanta next week and have a quieter, more solid run and at least be able to enjoy more of the event. And hopefully the offset of being able to make the field to begin with, that could be a really big deal there too. I mean, Sebastian was pointing out about how Carl Long's team in 2020, when Timmy Hill qualified for the 500, that allowed them to run the rest of the year. And that was the year when, of course, with COVID and everything getting tossed up in the air, how much of a mess that was. Hopefully for BJ, this can allow them to, although not running full-time as an open effort, still be able to run their planned races as well. Whoop, almost knocked this thing right off the table. Don't want to do that. Alrighty. Hope you're still here? Okay, good. Again, I mean, rough deal for BJ. I hated that things turned out the way they did for him in the 78 team, but hopefully that's something could work out. And unfortunately, collateral damage in that. We saw a number of other drivers involved in that incident, some that didn't get a whole lot of attention. Noah Gragson got some damage to the left rear of his car that he had to deal with, although he kind of worked his way back towards the front. One driver that really was kind of taken out of contention was Casey Mears, the other underdog in this field. After all that team did to piece that car back together, taking their Atlanta car and piecing this one back together, and that Herculean effort that Mears got back in there, got some right front damage, and it seemed to be much more serious than just cosmetic damage because he lost a couple laps, lost another under caution, and ended up back in the order. Looking at his results here, 5 laps down in 32nd, managed to outlast some of the other back markers there. But still a difficult day there for Carl Long in the Garage 66 effort. So hopefully things will be turning around for them as well. So unfortunately, the underdogs, at least in terms of the more underfunded open teams, were not as much of a factor in this race. Justin Allgaier, a step up there in the JR Motorsports effort. Again, I don't know what was going on there with that and that 40 team. That was there should have been a better understanding of how much of a run Hamlin and Blaney were having behind him there, because that was just a huge mess. Took out Chase Briscoe and Austin Dillon as well, and just a big mess. I was surprised Todd Gilliland got a lot of damage in that. I didn't think it was as much for what was happening there at the time. Or am I getting that confused with the Zilich wreck? Because the Zilich wreck I know had that had a lot of cars involved in. I think it was Zilich's that got Gilliland in it. That was rough too. I was hoping that Zilich would be able to be towards the front of the field there, certainly for the anticipation of his rookie season. We saw him go up there and challenge for the lead. Unfortunately, while leaning on Allgaier at the front of the field, lost control, and he had one of those incidents there on the front stretch. That was kind of what reminded me more like maybe more traditional 500 is, and certainly with the wind, I imagine that was a massive factor in a lot of these incidents. So many from off of turn 4 and into the tri-oval here. It seems like in the past we've seen so much that was happening going into turn 3 for the runs that everybody has down the straightaway. But this one here, handling was an issue. Just trying to hang on to these cars and seeing drivers make pretty impressive saves. I found that very enjoyable there. It's unfortunate when sometimes it boiled over because it seemed like there was no minor incident. If you were in an incident that seemed like it wasn't going to cause a lot of damage, it still pretty much took you out of contention, which was really difficult in this case. Again, Austin Cindric, for example, had a great car in this race, led several laps up there. Seemed like he didn't get too much damage, got a little, the left rear looked a little wonky there, but he was completely out to lunch. 7 laps down by the finish, ended up in the 34th spot. Briscoe and Dillon, same deal there. I mean, Dillon got a bit more damage. I could see that, certainly from the nose damage, but Briscoe, I thought he didn't get too much in that. Completely out of contention, 12 laps down at the finish of this. Todd Gilliland there. Bowman got a bit more damage there. I mean, that was less surprising. But again, yeah, kind of a hodgepodge of it here at the back of the field, the more that you look at it back there. And then when it got to the end of the race, of course, you get big enough accidents that it's close enough to the finish that you're not going to be able to come back from it, whatever damage you get. Denny Hamlin's race kind of went away at that point. The incident there with Corey Heim. Heim leading the race for a point, leading 8 laps, which, as Mike Joy brought up, the most that the 67 has led since 1951, which is extraordinary, a number that is still not won in the Cup Series, made most famous, not by the meme from last year, but by Buddy Arrington in the iconic Dodges and other Mopar products from that as well. Yeah, it was a different situation there. Oh, yes, Jimmy, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, Gilliland was in the Allgaier crash, and Dillon and Briscoe were in the Zilich crash. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Because, yeah, both of those were in about the same section there at the during the race there at the same time. And let's see here. So, let me go here. Oh, we got 127 people in here. Thank you so much for folks tuning in here. I appreciate you guys checking this stream out here, too. Just doing this right quick while I check this out. Okay. Looking at more of the results here. Yeah, Zilich back in the 33rd spot was 5 laps down. Christopher Bell 9 laps down after he clobbered the outside wall there at the end. And that's what you're going to get. I mean, if you look at some of these classic races, even like 1993, you're going to get more 1 and 2 car wrecks towards the end when things, tensions start boiling over and people start getting eliminated from it. Yeah, again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible here. Again, it was messy at the end. We can look at the finish here too. I have that kind of queued up. I figured that would probably be in it. Yeah, it was too bad. St. Clair Media, I see your comment on here as well. Yeah, I mean, again, it would have been nice if we didn't have another caution there at the end. I think that the way things were setting up, I was especially curious if Byron was going to be able to work the traffic, because it seemed like he was advancing at just the right time before that last caution came out. Again, it feels like too much to ask. I mean, I tweeted after the Super Bowl, it's like lighting a candle about, hoping for a green flag finish in fair weather. And we actually kind of did, and just barely, even though we got wrecks on the last lap and a massive storm heading towards the track, they just got it in and it just finished under green. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but I very much enjoyed it. So that'll be a different one to look at. Alrighty. We have moderators in here, if you can handle that there as well. I got this at the same time. Alrighty. Looking through here, I do want to catch up. Oh, Gregson got 11th. Yeah, fine recovery for him. Josh Berry was really good in this race. Haven't talked about him. That was quite good. I like the throwback. That tapered stripe on the nose for the 1976 paint scheme was immediately recognizable from the broadcast. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was really solid. I guess we could transition into the broadcast itself. I did not watch a lot of the pre-race, so I can't comment on too much of that. I saw the Biffle tribute online. I thought that was done really well. I didn't watch the Tom Rinaldi thing with Hamlin. I know that was getting a lot of mentions. But I usually jump in about 15 minutes before the race starts and catch up on it there. But I thought the opening ceremonies were cool. I thought the flyover was really low and really exciting. And, in terms of the commentary from the booth, I mean, again, it's kind of neutral to me. I didn't see too much that really, added too much. The one thing I liked that stood out was when Mike Joy was mentioning where past winners were running at certain points towards the end of the race and saying like where William Byron was running or where Michael McDowell was running or some of these other drivers there. I liked that. That was good. That was closer to like CBS would do, mentioning like how late in the race certain things happened, like Dale Earnhardt's win in the 598. There's a lot of moments towards the end of that where you hear like, this was a lap where the flat tire happened and this was the lap where he ran out of gas and things like that. It was reminiscent of that, and that's great. Especially if you could bring it into the recent history like that from these last few winners and really show like how everybody's still in contention and you never know what's going to happen, even though it's really close to the finish. That was good. Other than that, I don't really remember too much from the booth, to be honest. It didn't take too much away from me on it. In terms of the commercial breaks, I know there's a lot of comments on that. It's always going to be too much, but I didn't find it too distracting. I liked that it felt like they had a lot of side by side. I wasn't timing it. I know Cause and Jaws has done that for years, but I found it okay. I didn't think it was anything too egregious. So yeah, I thought that was fine. I know they said this was broadcast in 4K. We were actually having some internet issues at the start of this race and had to kind of reboot our box there before this thing started. But once it did, it was fine, and I didn't notice anything. Some of the camera angles, I would have liked to see more experimentation with that. Excuse me. Would have loved to see like the camera angle on the infield of turn 4 as they come off the banking, especially with the wind that was out there. I would have loved to get a better understanding of how loose these cars were. It seemed like when there were incidents where somebody was really loose, we saw it head on, which is probably the second best way you can see it. When cars are getting loose. We saw that with the Zilich incident right before that happened. I thought that was pretty good. Just a little bit more variety. I know it still had kind of the camera where it just sits on the wall and lets the cars rush by. I've never been a big fan of that there, but these are small things. These are not big things. Yeah, I didn't find the Cup broadcast particularly distracting. I thought they did a fine job with this one. I found the O'Reilly series broadcast a little more unprofessional and not as enjoyable, but we'll get into that a little bit later in this segment as well. Looking at other drivers through the field, well, gosh, Ryan Blaney dropped out there in 27th, one lap down. I lost track of where he ended up in all this. Was he in the Corey Heim accident? I don't even know. But Eric Jones was going for it. I saw somebody mentioning here in the chat about how close he was coming in there too, but didn't quite work out at the same time. But we will see how all that shakes out. Yeah, Cody Ware. Thank you for mentioning that as well. Corey Z here, senior comment there earlier. Yeah, Cody was really good in this. And good on him getting it actually mentioned from the booth. Him and the Haas factory team both moving from Ford to Chevrolet. Him getting up there, leading a 3-wide pack, reminiscent of what we saw last summer where he ran so well in the August race. That was great. I thought he did a fine job out there. I mean, that was good to see. He ended up shaking back a bit further. Where was he in the finishing order? Looking a bit further back. Am I okay? I don't know why it's a little hard. My scroller speed is a little off here. Got to figure this out here to see it a little bit easier. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, gosh. He wasn't this far back, was he? No, he wasn't that far back. Why am I not seeing him? 50, 25th, 26. I don't think he was out down there. Or was he? Heim, Johnson, Hamlin, Mears, Zilich. Why am I not seeing him? Wasn't like top 3. Oh, there he is, 17th. Okay, there you go. Right next to Hocevar. So, yeah, 17th. I mean, again, led 2 laps. Yeah, looked fine out there, especially, a situation where you don't have a teammate out there, even different from last season. So, yeah, good deal for him. And I know I talked about Hocevar already, but I was just thrilled by Hocevar's aggression all weekend. I don't think he should have been in the Truck Series or the O'Reilly Series race. A little bit less of the O'Reilly race, but certainly in the truck race, in the duels, and even in the closing stages of this one. That dude is just a wild horse rider out there. He is every bit of aggressive, getting every bit out of that 77 car. Yeah, he's bound to win his first race this year. I'm sure somebody will probably clip this at the end of the season, but I don't know. I mean, he should have won it last year. He should have won something last year. He had several times he came close. Maybe at that Ernie Irvan level where he's just balancing what's too aggressive versus not enough. But we'll see what the story is there too. But, yeah, very, very impressive. Let's see here. Yeah. So, again, let's do this. Let me switch to the second screen and we'll look kind of at the finish and just kind of break that down a little bit. Not the full one, but maybe just at least the last couple laps here. Oh, what the hell? Let's go to the last 4 laps of it. Excuse me. I apologize for the coughing still. It's better than it was on Thursday. I feel like I'm able to talk at least more complete sentences in that show, and I do apologize that that one was such a so difficult to listen to. Hang on here, folks. All right. Let's see here. Make that a little larger here. And okay. Let me see. We got this set up. All righty. Do-do-do. All righty. Hang on here, folks. Let me just step away for just a moment here. Alrighty, we're back here, folks. So just want to make sure to get on there. Let's see. Okay, I was going to get to the second screen. The second screen with the chat. Okay, here we go. Let's break this down a little bit here and go into this. So, and again, I'm seeing the comments too. Yeah, I mean, the thing that has to get discussed too. Michael Jordan in victory lane after winning, in the Daytona 500 after being a winning team owner, for his history in the sport and, and how long he's been a supporter of it. And then, of course, everything that happened over the offseason with the lawsuit. My goodness. I mean, this couldn't have been any better vindication there at the same time. So, yeah, tremendous moment. But let's take a look here, kind of just how this broke down, because it seemed like so much happened in such a short time. It's hard to break away there. I'll turn the volume down a little bit on this. So, good strategy there for Michael McDowell staying out there after the on strategy. I mean, a bold call, but it didn't seem like it was going to work too well. And indeed, in this case here, you get Reddick and Byron getting their way by. And at this point here, it really felt like Byron was going to maybe set up to actually get his third straight Daytona 500. But you also have the two Spire Motorsports teammates linked up by there, and Reddick working both lanes. I thought you had Byron underneath here. I'm like, oh, baby, here's where this is going. And certainly here at Last Car headquarters, that's what I was pulling for. But it's amazing. You got Reddick falling back, but you got Bubba Wallace right there with him. But it's still stalled out, and everybody's in three-wide formation again, just like they could have been during the fuel mileage run. Great run with Hocevar, though. Again, so much speed, so much aggression that he had in the 77 car to get back out there. Joey Logano back in the picture in the outside lane, and Reddick not falling that far back. We saw a lot of speed out of the middle lane through a lot of this race, and it really worked out well. I thought this was going to be a wreck for sure with Logano coming down on Reddick, but then it kept things clean. McDowell's just trying to figure out which lane he's going to work, and it gets interesting. Hocevar thought was going to maybe dupe his teammate and jump under him. Instead, gives him a good shot in the corner, and now you got Eric Jones in the middle of it there up to the third spot. And now at this point, it seems like Byron's door is closing. Hocevar gets underneath here, tries to make a look at it. Reddick ends up trying to skunk Jones, but Jones gets back in front of him for the outside lane. And then you got Logano and Byron at the inside falling back a bit, but not entirely out of it. And now it's 2 laps to go. Didn't expect McDowell to be leading this long. I expected him to be dropping back as quick as he could have at the end there. But Hocevar looking very strong there in the second spot, working any lane he could. Byron again right there. We got Brad Keselowski in, as Mike Joy just mentioned there on the inside. And a 3-wide stack up there for everybody else. Spire Motorsports looks like they're about to pull off a Daytona 500 win to go with Justin Haley's 400. Look at that run there that Hocevar gets from the bump from Jones. McDowell can't hang on to it. And then right there again, middle lane just had so much speed. We saw so many big rallies there in the middle. And even though Reddick kind of got jumped on there at the start, he's never been out of it, even though he's got Logano between him and his teammate. So coming to the white flag, you got Eric Jones still in it. Hocevar getting up there. I thought this was going to be a wreck again. I thought that Hocevar was going to cross Jones's nose, and then he ends up doing it a little bit later. And then there it is, taking out McDowell. I forgot McDowell got in that part of the wreck. And then Byron is on the flat. He gets shot up the track there. My goodness. And then all of a sudden, Ricky Stenhouse. I didn't even keep track of where Stenhouse and Zane Smith were, but it just took a little hesitation to get back in there. And Riley Herbst's back in the picture. Now he's helping out Reddick. Elliott for the lead. I mean, man, oh, man. Yeah, that's right. It was with Reddick. It was with Jones and Hocevar. Somehow it felt like I thought it was Jones and somebody else there. Massive run to the outside of Zane. Just laid back a little bit too far. Elliott gets there. And again, just it's so unfortunate that Herbst crossed the nose of Keselowski there at the end. I mean, if they just stayed in formation, that would have been amazing. But man, oh man, I mean, just so close to the end there, coming through there. Man, oh man. Really, really, really close. I mean, this move through here, I mean, again, this kind of serpentine we saw in the dual races here, being able to work the different lanes. I mean, Reddick just driving back up there, almost kind of like what happened where before Ryan Newman's accident. Thankfully, it wasn't nearly as serious as that wreck was back in 2020, but you get a pair that jumps out in front, and that second pair catches them, and it's going to be very hard to block them. But yeah, again, oh man, I mean, it sucks so bad for Riley Herbst after the season he had last year, almost the last car champion, got beat by Allmendinger there at the end. Could have got a third place finish at least, but man, just a massive miscalculation there. And again, similar to the Allgaier one, again, I think the Allgaier one was more flagrant because it wasn't the last lap, but it of course had the benefit of certainly helping out Reddick, and Elliott just gets winged there enough to get scooped out of the way. Logano there at the same time, and just way more cars tore up than needed to be there, but that's how it shook out. But again, we saw Reddick win Talladega almost a kind of similar way there too, being able to pull off the victory there at the same time. So an interesting way for all of that to shake out, but competitive. I mean, again, very competitive, very interesting to see how all that worked out there. At the same time. So again, congratulations to Tyler Reddick on a tremendous victory. Again, pending the results of post-race inspection, we still don't know what the results of that are. I don't believe we have had any other announcements on this. Let me just check the feed here at the same time. Looking on there. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to get Pockrace's page pulled open here. At the same time, yeah, no, just got the official results here at the meantime. What's the margin of victory? Did it count as a caution? No, 0.3 of a second there. It was kind of a gap there for Stenhouse after hitting the wall there. That gapped him a little bit. But again, Stenhouse in the second spot there, again, unofficially based on the results from that. But yeah, definitely get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing in the comments too. Any deals there with Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott? I mean, yeah, it sucks to have both of them right in the middle of it, especially with Elliott. Elliott did everything right there at the end, completely not his fault. I think that it would have been very hard to block that move that Reddick had with Riley Herbst's push there at the end, especially after Zane dropped back. Both of them were falling back at that point there. And Elliott pointed that out himself in his post-race interview, that it's very hard to be defensive at that point too. So, yeah, it's unfortunate it worked out that way. And again, for Riley, again, it's very similar to that one he had for Front Row Motorsports, where he was up there leading laps at Talladega, and got turned coming across the line there too. I hate that happened. And I like that Michael Jordan brought him up. I like that he brought Herbst up at the same time. That push at the end, and unfortunately the wreck having also a role in the finish. That was one to kind of look at the same time. So, yeah, there we go. But, yeah, we got the great finish there, again, on the Cup Series side. I do want to get into the Xfinity and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Truck Series finishes. I'll touch on those. I did bring the trivia thing out. We'll do a couple questions here as part of this, and we'll cover all of that there at the same time. Don't have as many notes. Of course, if you have any questions here to cover from the race weekend, definitely let me know. I think I got a couple super chats here that we'll catch up on at the same time. And yeah, we'll get into that there too. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Austin Hill wins again. Whoop-de-doo. As I posted a couple years ago, I don't know what we've done as a people to deserve this many Austin Hill Super Speedway wins. I'd like to enjoy the dominance and the craft of it all, but it just seems like fish in a barrel at this point, where he just is able to just stay up there. And I'm seeing an increasing number of people being critical of everybody else in the field and what they've been able to not quite do in getting up there and beat him for the win. I don't know how much of that is just disorder at the back of the field, or whatever the package is in the O'Reilly series or whatever. But just time and time again, they just can't seem to get back up there. And now we got Atlanta next week, and they're going to be talking about him again. And it's like, okay, really? But again, in this race here too, reasonably competitive throughout it. We had drivers coming back from issues. Ryan Sieg, and until a later unfortunate incident, both him and Sam Mayer were coming back from damage suffered very early in this race. Sieg with a flat tire, losing a lap, getting involved in another incident and getting back up there. Seemed like he had a real good shot. He was up there. He was trying everything. He was pushing the back of Allgaier, trying to get up there, and it just became just a brick wall up there between the 7 and the 21. He just couldn't get through. About as good as he could get there. But again, a very positive indicator for RSS Racing in their return to Chevrolet. Jordan Anderson had a great move to the inside, and Austin Hill, to his credit, even mentioned in the interview that he almost didn't close the door in time. The 32 got his nose under there, and that could have been a very different outcome. Anderson coming so close to winning so many Truck Series and O'Reilly Series races at Daytona, especially in the opener, is just pounding on that door now and came very close to pulling off the win. Unfortunately, didn't turn out this time around there. Ryan Ellis in the 6th spot there, get his second career top 10 finish in his first race with Young's Motorsports. Great effort for him in the Tableau TV sponsorship. Blaine Perkins in 9th, in 8th, after returning to form from his great runs in Our Motorsports from years ago. Looked very good up there, was right in the top 5 there at the end, got shaken out there a bit. Raja Carruth was really good, coming back from a spin, getting up there, being competitive. Him and Corey Day were so much fun to watch. Carruth at one point challenging Austin Hill for the lead. He's going to be really, really exciting this year. That 88 team hasn't missed a beat from last year, from what we're seeing from Connor Zilich's performances there. And we'll find out how things shake out there. Very happy for Anthony Alfredo, what turned out to be kind of a funny mishmash of sponsors there between the Alpha Prime protein rice treats on the car and the Dude Wipes sponsorship from Alfredo's own backing, joining forces there. Kudos to Alpha Prime there for working out that deal. And Alfredo getting a good run after Cesar Baccarella had done so well in that car last year at Talladega. That was not a small change to make. But kudos to Alfredo after the DNQ there, on top of the bad luck he had in the duels after the disqualification he had there. I'm glad he had something to walk away with in a challenging situation there too. But kudos to him there at the same time. Brennan Poole, so close yet again. You pretty much have to put him in the same. I always kind of watch these O'Reilly races, waiting to see if Ryan Sieg or Sheldon Creed are going to get their first win. I'm really tempted to put Brennan Poole in that trifecta now. Although it seems like with Poole, it's much more about the super speedways exclusively rather than all the other tracks there. But he's right in that same group about like, when's he going to finally break through and get that first win? He's been up there just as many times in these super speedway races as the other two have been. And this was certainly no exception with him getting up there to second spot there at the end. Kind of was in Zane Smith's spot from today's race, just couldn't quite get it to work out and ended up back in the order there in the 12th spot there at the finish. Parker Retzlaff there in the 14th spot in his first race for the Viking Motorsports team. LeVar Scott for Tommy Joe Martins at the Alpha Prime team in the 16th spot, getting the top 20 there. Patrick Staropoli, Carson Ware coming from the back of the field there, the Stanton Barrett effort, getting up there into the 19th spot. So great job for him. Just really interesting to see how that shook out. We had a lot more of the larger multi-car accidents, especially in the towards the end of the race there in this one. The O'Reilly race seems to always boil over in that sense. Austin Hill was just able to kind of just keep himself clear from those, and leading 78 laps, it was pretty easy to stay in front of those at the way it turned out. Yeah, and also mentioning in the chat here too, yeah, Chevrolet dominating the first part of the field, the first half of the field, more than half, first 20 spots, all Chevrolets. With the move, the RSS Racing and the Haas factory team leaving Ford and going to Chevy, that's definitely tilted the balance, and now Ford teams are even fewer and far between. It's now AM Racing and the new startup team there for the Hettinger team. That's pretty much it. I mean, isn't it, between those two? Pretty slim pickings there. They've always been the distinct minority in the O'Reilly series. I never really understood that as a kid, why the Chevys were so much more of an attractive option there. I'm sure there's some aerodynamic reason for it, or maybe it had something to do with the V6 engines or something, but it stayed that way even after all these other rule changes out there. It's definitely a different composition to the series, much closer to what we saw in the late 90s, where Chevys just would dominate the field, and that was pretty much what you wanted to have out there. We'll see how things work out from there too. Austin Green able to salvage a 22nd place finish after a spin midway through the race there. That did not bring out the caution. I appreciated that, the cautions again were handled a bit better in this case here. Wasn't anything too dangerous or too outrageous. Although we did have a first lap altercation there. Poor Mason Maggio with his second last place finish, his first since Bristol last year, which was also a forgettable weekend. One where he had wrecks in practice, pieced the car back together, and ended up having another blown tire at the beginning of that race. Here, stack up, just inexplicably. Middle of the field, about 10th place on back, just stacked up. The accordion crunched together right where the 91 car was, damaged the radiator, had to pull over into turn one, and that was the end of the day. So an unfortunate deal there for Maggio. Hopefully, some better luck ahead for him and the DGM team. Sounds like he's going to be running Atlanta next week, so that'll be a good time for him to turn things around there too. And we'll find out what the situation is. Giovanni Ruggiero in the 37th spot there after winning the Arca race. Ends up towards the back of the field after a crash. Nick Sanchez, Dean Thompson, and Josh Williams rounding out your bottom five there at the same time. This race also had a great scramble to the finish. Enjoyed, again, kind of similar to the Cup race today. Probably would have been better if we didn't have a caution with about 7 or 8 laps to go. But again, everybody was really kind of in the thick of it and got to continue to challenge for the lead, and, no quarter given to the leader. And I enjoyed watching that. So that was a much more enjoyable experience there too. Definitely the elephant in the room that isn't there would have to be the incident involving Natalie Decker and Sam Mayer. A very, very late hit in what was already a very brutal accident. Mentioning Sam Mayer earlier, that he got some nose damage there. Him and his Haas factory teammate Sheldon Creed. Creed seemed to be a bit more down for the count, multiple laps down, but Mayer got back into the lead pack only to get wrecked again in the turn 1 and 2. Clearly had no brakes, no control of the car. Hood flapped up over the roof of the car, slides back up into traffic. Jeremy Clements had been involved in the incident earlier too, which was a heartbreak because he had been involved in the first lap incident. And then several seconds later, just had a situation where Decker comes up on the scene, committed to the high lane, going way too fast and piled into Mayer's car. Absolutely absurd situation. We've seen late hits before on the super speedways, typically more in Arca. Unfortunately, the Arca series got that reputation in the previous decades. I wouldn't say that this race this year was an example of it. But this case here, yeah, just definitely a miscommunication and really shouldn't have happened. Tore up the 35 car, which I'm sure, the Gase team just did not need. Just really unfortunate, especially on a weekend where the other two Gase cars failed to qualify for the race. Turned out to be a pretty costly weekend there too. So I don't know where the breakdown was, if it was all in the driver or the spotter or some combination. The radio wasn't working. I don't even know. But that was just an absurd situation. And I'm glad Mayer wasn't more seriously injured in that incident either. William Sawalich, I'm glad he's okay after, getting involved in one of those late race incidents. He looked really good out there, was very strong in this race. Picking up where he left off last year after he was so good in the second half of last season. Just missed out on making the postseason there. Again, should be a kid that will be one to watch this season here as well. So we'll find out what happens there too. But again, solid race, crash filled. I mean, you're going to have that on that side there too. It's unfortunate Austin Hill was so dominant, but again, he's a competitor just like everybody else. And if they want to beat him, they got to get that much better to beat him. And hopefully we'll see this next week in Atlanta. That'll be the next round and find out if they're able to do it. And if not, it's going to be, another dominant performance there for the Bennett Transportation team. So same deal there. Truck Series race, moving back to Friday there. My goodness, what a finish we had. That was, again, allowed to happen when we had an incident on the last lap. Caution did not come out. Drivers able to actually race each other coming to the line. It looked like John Hunter Nemechek was going to be able to pull off a victory there after showing so much speed in Thursday's duel. Ends up back in the fifth spot with a four-wide battle at the end. Reminiscent of Ron Bouchard, who, of course, his car was actually on display in the infield. And yes, that happened at Talladega. But as reminiscent of the 81 finish there, where everybody's chasing each other up the track, and you leave open that bottom lane, and Ty Majeski and Chandler Smith come right through, and Smith pulling off the victory over Giovanni Ruggiero. They're at the same time, 44 thousandths of a second, the margin of victory there. Great effort there for him in Front Row Motorsports to start things off there, going with the two wins that Zane Smith had there in the last few years. That team has really become one that you have to watch at these super speedways and at Daytona in particular. And, Chandler had some runs that kind of went sideways on him last year. Big effort for him in the trophy catch effort, getting out there. Nice looking truck too. I like the bass pattern that they had on there. Looked really nice. Christian Eckes was one of the drivers that I was having so much fun watching in that race. He was an absolute thrill, running high, middle, low, on the verge of out of control out there, and especially given for how awful his O'Reilly season was last year with Colleague and all the bad luck he had, especially engine failures. He just looked like somebody just liberated out there, having a great run out there and just battling with the McAnally team, which is a great team out there in the Truck Series. Of course, it had done so well with the 19 team before that. He was so much fun to watch, and I hope he stays whatever his schedule is this year. I hope he continues to be that way the rest of the season. Majeski still getting used to him being in Crafton's truck, finishing in the fourth spot there after the push to Chandler Smith there. The finish, John Hunter Nemechek dropped back to fifth. Then Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Brendan Butterbean Queen, the top Ram in the seventh spot. Caden Honeycutt in the Heim Time truck there in eighth. Honeycutt looked outstanding out there too. Again, should be just as strong as that team was last year. I know there's personnel moving around just like we saw with other programs out there, but Caden is a tremendous talent. And, again, saw him win his first ever Arca West race out here at our home track out in Roseville. Seeing where he has progressed from these different teams to get in the Nice truck and come close to winning races there, driving for Stuart Friesen's truck to get back out there and have a chance at having a title battle there as well. And I expect big things out of that 11 truck this year. Maybe not as big as what we saw from Corey Heim, but once he wins, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. The series should consider itself very fortunate that we haven't reached that point yet. Stuart Friesen, mentioning him getting back in the top 10, back in the truck. Glad to see him back out there after the injury he had last year. Fantastic run for him. And happy for Nick Lights in the 11th spot there, driving the former Tony Breidinger truck, excuse me. Great run that he had out there. This is a driver that's just made a few starts for Mario Gosselin in the O'Reilly series. Few starts here in the truck series as well, usually for smaller teams. Great job by him out there. I was very pleased to see him have a good finish out there and knocking on the door of a top 10 there at the same time. Looking through the field, talk about the Ram trucks out there. Justin Haley was really good. Haley's always good in anything he gets into in the trucks or the O'Reilly series. He really should be back in the Cup series again, but things just kind of shuffling differently there. He was really good in that Celsius truck out there, ran some good laps, led 20 laps, ended up back in the 22nd spot out there. I like the way the Ram trucks look too. There was some concerns. They were really struggling in practice, and they were kind of hot and cold in qualifying, and they had to get Mini Tyrrell into the field there at the back of the field there at the same time. But once they got out there, they raced, as well as could be expected. It's unfortunate Tony Stewart got involved in an early accident. That was certainly one of the big storylines. The incident with Jake Garcia coming off turn 4 ended up shortening his night. And, of course, the other big fan favorite that everybody was watching was Cletus McFarland. Kudos to him for getting that Ford truck in there. Ended up having a good race in the Arca race as well, just outside the top 10. He was excited about that as well. He should be. Unfortunately, it was a short night for him on Friday. Turn 4 was just treacherous, and it always is. We see this more often, in different cars or whatever, but or trucks in this case. But this week, with whether it was the wind or the tires or whatever was going on, that was just a really, really tricky spot, especially if you're inexperienced. And Cletus McFarland wasn't the only one in that section. I mean, you saw with Connor Zilic being as highly anticipated of a rookie, his incident there with Justin Allgaier off the fourth corner really kind of screwed up his run there. And it was tricky. And, other drivers, Corey Day coming off there in the O'Reilly Series race and just barely glancing off that inside wall, causing a lot of damage. It was a tricky area, and it was definitely another one to watch there too. But best of luck to him on whatever his next effort is. It was great to see him out there with the Biffle numbers. All the cars and the trucks with the Biffle numbers looked great out there. I hate that Norm Benning missed the show with the sponsors he had on board there. But at least has a truck in one piece, and hopefully whatever the next effort is, whether that's Talladega or something else that's coming up, we'll find out. I haven't heard anything new on that, but we'll find out what the story is there too. But a very difficult field, large field that we had out there. I'm surprised Clay Greenfield made it in the Backyard Blues Pools entry for GK Racing. They're kind of one of those smaller single truck efforts. I really wasn't sure if they were going to be able to make the show, but he did. And he finished in the top 20 in the 18th spot, so kudos to him on that. Frankie Muniz in the top 20 in the 16th spot there for what's now the Team Realm effort there, former Realm Brothers racing effort. Great effort there for him. And Carson Hocevar, I know he lost laps. I know he was in a number of incidents and all that, but again, between him and Eckes, they were so much fun to watch in that truck race. I hate that he lost laps and was out of contention. But man, he was just absolutely flying out there. And that's going to pay off at one point or another. So we'll see where things head from there at the same time. So that'll be another one to certainly look at. Looking through the rest of the field here, Truck Series incidents, relatively low attrition, only really 4 drivers falling out of the race. Corey LaJoie out with a blown engine, on top of the disappointment of not making the 500 with the last lap accident there too. Difficult deal there. But great finish of the truck race. Really, no notes. I mean, again, really entertaining. And I haven't talked much about the Arca race. I didn't watch that race live because I was doing the starting grid about that time. But dramatic race there too. I mean, my goodness, Ruggiero inherits the lead after Gus Dean and Jake Finch wreck each other out of the front of the field on the back straightaway. I mean, again, this week had just a little bit of everything. Kudos. And again, Cletus again with the 11th place finish in the Arca race. Good effort for them too. Brad Smith, making the show there, finishing towards the back of the field, but still, again, making the show there. Good to see out of those programs there at the same time. Yeah, that's really kind of mostly what I have to say about that. So some good efforts here too. Let me get into the super chats here at the same time. I think this will be a good way to kind of pin some of this too. Oh goodness, we got a few here. Thank you so much here, folks. Let me catch it up on these. Looking over here at that. Alrighty. Okay. There we go. Looking at my notes here from the weekend as well. So, yeah, heck, I'm just happy. I'm just bubbling here, and I'm glad I am, because I'm not a big fan of the Echo Park Speedway, and I know a lot of people like it, and that's great, and that's fun and everything. But hopefully we're gonna have some good showings there too, and maybe it'll overcome all of that. Excuse me. At the same time. So first super chat here for $20. Thank you so much, Joshua P. Boston. I got your super chat on here. The ending to the 500 this year was absolutely worth it, and Reddick's wins reminiscent of Petty and Earnhardt. If you think about it, both were winless in 78 and 97 respectively, then won the 500 the next year, 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, a very good point. Hadn't thought about that. Yeah, Reddick, not being able to get in the victory lane last year and then pulling this off. Yeah, that does share some elements to it. I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good point. And again, I know I came out, especially talking about the Echo Park or the Atlanta track there, about whether it's a good finish or a good race. It doesn't need to have a whole lot of wrecks. This one did. But again, I thought the overall experience of the whole race was good. I don't think it was just a good finish. And it didn't have to have 3 different wrecks and 6 lead changes or however many whatever happened at the finish. I thought it was plenty engaging. I was thoroughly engaged the whole time, and that's the best you can have, especially for this. And hopefully, any new viewers that got pulled in with the advertising this year, or whatever the case, I hope they enjoyed it. If you're in the chat here, hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I hope you've enjoyed this show here as we talk about it here at the same time. But again, thank you so much for the super chat there on that. Bowser Jr., thank you for your super chat for $5 as well. Tyler Reddick is the only driver in NASCAR history to win the season opener in the top 3 divisions. I did not know that. Great statistic. Trucks in 2015 and the O'Reilly Series in 2018. That dramatic photo finish there in the O'Reilly Series. Very good point. A tremendous accomplishment. That being the story there too. I will dovetail onto that. The 78 car with BJ McLeod, again, unofficially, pending the results of post-race inspection. First time the 78 has finished last in the Daytona 500 since Martin Truex Jr. in 2014. And not the earliest exit from the race too. I believe there's about 10 other races in the 500 alone where somebody completed 3 or fewer laps, the most recent being Derek Cope and his flat tire in the 2021 running, which is actually the shirt that I have on today here with the Michael McDowell run here at the same time. So we brought that out for this week. But yes, no, thank you so much for the super chat and for the statistic on that as well. Beast of Metal, thank you for your super chat for $10. Much appreciated. A thought on procedure. If a start gets moved up by weather, cancel the stage cautions, but still give points on the designated laps. Maybe it could serve as a step to ditching them entirely. I like that. I had not thought of that. That's a very good plan. I would just rather just get rid of the stage cautions altogether and keep a running point total. And yeah, maybe that would, similar to with what we have here with the chase format being a step towards the full season. I like that idea. That's a very good idea, Beast of Metal. And we see this weather blowing in. Again, we're having weather out here. I haven't checked outside yet, but I imagine it's pretty blustery out here. Yeah, that would be another one to look at the same time. But yeah, I think that's a great point there too. Thank you, Doug Rice. Thank you for your subscription onto the channel here as well. Is that the Doug Rice? I don't even know, but hey, whatever Doug Rice you are, thank you so much, and I appreciate you jumping on board. Bowser Jr., thank you for your super chat here as well. Just saw it just a moment ago for $2. Thank you again. Like that Petty Blue box there as well for that. I like that. All 3 winning teams were involved in the lawsuits. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, of course, directly between Front Row and 2311, and then, of course, the Richard Childress text messages harkening back to Austin Hill's victory here as well. So yeah, very good point. Yeah, kind of, again, storylines. I love storylines. I love things that bring things together and things that carry over week to week. I hope we get to see that. And, actually, a Beast of Metal, going back to your mention here as well, with the stage points, one thing I hope we do see, again, hopefully get a glance at the points standings at the end of the broadcast. I don't know if we saw it. I turned it off before we got to that point. Just get a glance at that at the end of the broadcast, say, oh yeah, here's where the points are. And then we got that too, but it's race to race, having the race be the focus, and who's doing well and who's not doing well. That should be the focus. I am so excited for that. We're really not going to get a good sense of that until maybe a few races into this year, but I think we have a good foundation for it. But one thing I'd like with Beast of Metal's idea here too, if we get a running total of those points and just kind of show it up on the screen there and say, here's who has this. And then maybe a guy got points in stage 1, then somebody else gets in stage 2 and he has enough to beat that guy, and then those points move there. It doesn't have to be the overkill that we saw in the playoffs. I'm glad we didn't have that. It doesn't need to be on the screen the whole time. Of course not. Even in the ESPN days, could have like the whole point standings and see things move around and all that, and have that in the background. But having the race be the focus, not hearing about playoffs, not hearing about the championship, letting the Harley J. Earl Trophy be what it is, that was great today. And I'm sure that was a factor into why I enjoyed this one so much, and even more than the last couple. So that was good there too. I like the lap 3 they did. The segment they did for Earnhardt there for the 25th anniversary of his last race coming up here in 3 days this Wednesday. Yeah, I thought that was handled very well. So, again, you got to be fair. It was done really well. So again, not the most earth-shattering broadcast for the Daytona 500. Didn't have to be. It just had to just tell me what the hell is going on. And I think that's really, the fun part of it there. So, yeah, again, I think a great effort on all fronts here. So we'll do some more trivia here. I know we didn't really get to this on Thursday, but now that things have cleared up a little bit, we can do some questions here. I got my late 90s Trivial Pursuit deal here. Let me know in the chat which category you'd like. We'll do a few questions here. Didn't count on busting through the show quite this quickly. I see we're just an hour into it, but that's okay. We'll do that as well. Where are we here? Whoop, there we go. It's a little dark with the light here, but we have this. So, once again, the categories on here: NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Let me know in the chat which category you'd like. We'll do a couple questions here to wrap up the show here for this evening. Once again, those categories are NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Those are our categories. Would you like to see Badger? Badger is here. He is on my lap. He's been on my lap since here. We got the Badger cam here. Let's drop this down. And whoop, there he is. Oh, he's a little crashed out. How you doing here, buddy? Oh, I was going to pick him up, but I think he's still snoozing. Let's see. There we go. There he is. Okay. Yeah. No, if he wakes up here, I'll let you know, but we'll get that going here at the same time. Oh, I got my Richard Petty jacket in the background. I was going to wear that on the show here, but it's a little too warm in here, but I do have my red, white, and blue plaid. So I got my Great American Fit going here. So we're getting ready for some elements of this that I'm going to use for the San Diego race here this summer. So we'll see how that goes. There you go, buddy. Alrighty. Yeah, Riley Herbst second of the Toyotas. Yeah, what does that tell you? That's crazy. Do we have any other calls on inspection? I haven't seen anything yet here. Well, you guys pick which categories you like. I'll get some more water here in a little bit. I'm glad to I do apologize. I'm still coughing a bit. I got not a sponsored stream, but Robitussin coming in clutch. I did actually go see a doctor yesterday, yesterday before the, actually no, it was Friday before the Truck Series race. Because like, man, I can't be sounding like this for the viewers here. They had to listen to me sound like Wilbur Cobb from the Ren and Stimpy show. And I'm like, okay, we got to clear this up. Luckily it wasn't anything serious, but they couldn't send me back with anything. He just said, okay, yeah, just take some Robitussin and it'll clear it up. It's like, okay, well, heck, that could have been handled in a phone call, but much appreciated. It was actually Advent Health, the sponsor of Eric Jones in the race. So there you go. Also not a sponsored segment, But hey, you'll call me if you want to do anything on the show here. But yeah, we got that knocked out here. It's a little bit, we're just getting on the tail end of it here, but much better. So hopefully for Atlanta, it should be even better than that. I hope you guys enjoyed the starting grid video. Nailed that out there too. I know it sounded like my voice was a bit hoarse on it. I actually kind of liked how it sounded. Maybe that's just me. Maybe my ears are just so plugged up, but I thought it sounded pretty good. But I liked playing around with it. I used the Racing Champions font for the graphic because somebody helped me find that over the off season. I was like, this would be a good idea to kind of feature that, have like the diecast font on that. I figured that would be kind of fun to do. So I like doing that. And it's, of course, including Greg Biffle and Michael Annette on the cover image there for the grid. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. Death Killer Spower. Are you local to here? You can go with Sutter Walk-In Care. We actually had another clinic that actually no longer did walk-ins, so we had to go to a different location. But it did work out. So kudos to the folks over at Advent Health for allowing us to get in there. So, yeah, that worked out well there, too. Alrighty. Let me see here. Oh, do we have a picks for the category? Oh, yeah, here we go. Comment man, thank you for your super chat here as well. It was nice not hearing welcome to the playoffs Tyler Reddick when he got out of the car. Amen to that. Yes. Thank you so much for your super chat for $5 on here. Definitely agree. Definitely agree for sure. Big change. Oh, I kind of left out from my truck series thing. Yeah, truck series broadcast still sucks. The commentary was terrible. Jamie Little was awful. And, they were goofing around. There was a little bit of that in the O'Reilly race too. I didn't like that whole Valentine's Day segment, and Adam Alexander just all that. I had about my stomach full of that. I mean, Adam Alexander's not as bad as Jamie Little, but he's not as great as everybody seems to go with, because he gets so distracted with just stupid stuff. And the Jamie Little one, you had all this hype. It felt like the truck race was wasted on this booth this time for this truck race. That was the unfortunate part. I don't like having the Cup guys in there, but you got Ricky Stenhouse, Michael McDowell, you got past Daytona 500 winners. You got Tony Stewart coming out of retirement to bring Ram into the sport. You got Cletus McFarland and his fan base, and they're trying to watch this on the onboard camera and all that. You got all these storylines. You should bring your A-plus game to that. And the broadcast, the way the play-by-play was terrible. It was terrible, and it is holding the truck series back. And until they fix that, nothing's really going to improve there. At least O'Reilly in the Cup Series, they're trying stuff. I love what Parker Kligerman and Jamie McMurray do in the O'Reilly side. And Adam Alexander, I think, is there just to kind of get the feet under him. I like that Eric Brennan is doing a great job in the Arca Series. And again, the Cup Series ones, Mike Joy, he's getting on in his years, but he's solid. He's bringing out things that have worked for him in the past. Like, again, the thing about the history of where drivers were running at the end, that's good. That's still good. And people still got to exceed that level to get up there. Again, Clip Boyer and Kevin Harvick aren't much to sell, right home about. I think Mike is doing most of the work there, along with the pit reporters. But the Truck Series one, it's like, man, oh man, I know we're going to get Eric Brennan for some of the races, but I hope that the difference is going to be really, really clear and people are going to understand what the trajectory is. Because Eric should have been in there for this race, like right away. He would have had an absolute ball describing all those near misses, all those close races, the battles at the end, the disappointment of the drivers that fell out. That truck race was chock full of storylines that you would want to just, you would be at the risk of saying too much during that broadcast. That's what you would be having. But man, that's frustrating. It's frustrating. It was the one big problem with that one there too. So that was another one. Yeah, Mike Joy and Al Michaels still in their prime. I like Al Michaels. I like Mike Tirico. Bring him in. Mike Tirico would remind me so much of like when Bryant, was it Bryant Gumbel or no, it was his brother, right? The one we lost recently. Gosh, why am I blanking on it? The Gumbel brothers have always been really good. But man, when he did Daytona for CBS in the 2000s, I thought he was really good. I would love that. Mike Tirico would be just much like that too, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe things kind of work out, that direction too. Gosh, who was that? Yeah. I keep want to say Jim, and I know that's not it. Greg, thank you. God, why did I forget that? Yeah, we just lost him last year, didn't we? Yeah, Greg Gumbel. Man, he was so good. Watch the CBS stuff from 2000. I know everybody craps on that race. I know the 2500 wasn't good. I said the same thing. I get that. But it was not because of his commentary. I thought he did a really good job. I'm surprised he didn't do more NASCAR, but again, different things turning around there too. Yeah, Greg. Yeah, Greg Gumbel. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. No, Mike Tirico's good too. I love his football commentary, and I know that that's his thing. So that's cool. That's cool. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, categories. I'm sorry. We're still going to do the chat here. No, very good. I hope it comes across. But I very much enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this too. Yep, Alan Bestwick too. Oh yeah. Oh, Mike is out. Uh-oh. Mike is out. Uh-oh. You're not hearing me? Tap 1, 2, 3, 3, 2. Can you hear me? If you guys can hear me, let me know. Is it 99 500? I thought it was 2000. Was it 99? Okay. I'm still getting levels here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. You can hear me. Okay. Heard you just fine. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Okay. Just making sure. Seem to have good levels. Okay. Where are we in categories here? And we'll do a couple questions here to wrap up for tonight. Yeah, Jamie Little's a great pit reporter. Nothing against that at all. Same thing with Vince Welch. I agree, Armour. You're absolutely right. Thought the voice added an extra level of gravitas. Beast of Metal, thank you. I do appreciate that. I really was going for I was going to go for here's the mission. Kyle Busch, can he do it? It's it's unfortunate he didn't, but he got through all the phases he needed to. And then circumstances dictate the outcome. Same thing Richard Petty said. So, that's just the way it goes. So, yeah. I'm glad you like the starting grid though. Again, still have that as a level in the Patreon. We reach another goal there on that. We'll may do another grid later this year. We'll find out if that's going to be the case. We're not there yet, but that will be another one to look at. Where are we on? Can somebody total up which category everybody picked? I only see a few here for different ones on this. I'll get some water in the meantime. We'll see if Badger's he's still crashed out. Where is he? There we go. There he is. Oh yeah. It's too bad I can't zoom this in. We'll set something like that up eventually here. There we go. I'm gonna get a little water while we get things totaled up here. Alrighty. Let's see. Coke 600 grid would be good. Yep. That's always a possibility. Yeah, I like Lee Diffie. I don't have a problem with him, Armour. Yeah, basically the way I do it, in the Patreon, if we reach $100 mark, every $100 or that's where I said it in the past. I think we're still shy of that now. It's kind of been going back and forth, so it's been a little hard to keep track of. But every time we hit that, then I put a poll in the Patreon, let the Patreon members pick which race we're going to do, and then do a second poll of the ones people pick as to which one I'm actually going to be the finalist for. And that's where last year we had the Mexico City one. Before that, we had the Brickyard 400. We usually had one other grid a year. That's usually been the rate at which it's gone. So we'll see how that shakes out. 2 for wild card, 2 for tracks, 1 for teams by my count. Thank you, Big All Caps. Yep, first Daytona 500 in 4K resolution. Didn't see the difference here as much, but again, that could have been just our internet signal. I think that was the case. All right. Let's see. Yeah, 2 for wild card, 1 for tracks, 1 for teams. Okay, we'll do wild card. That's fine. We'll go ahead and jump into that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Now this is okay. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. We're looking for a number, but it's a little tricky. Let's see. Oh, did it go to tracks? Okay. Well, we'll hop around here. Let's see. This is actually a good question to lead us off here. How many drivers had more NASCAR Winston Cup wins than Bobby Allison through 1997? See, can't look it up now. See, looking it up is not going to be accurate. How many drivers had more NASCAR Winston Cup wins than Bobby Allison through 1997? So how many? You don't have to know which ones. You can just say how many like how many drivers, like what number. I'll check our feed here at the same time. All righty, we still got 148 people here. The Daytona show is always a really good show. I'm glad. I usually we do pretty good with this one, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you're new to the show, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you come back for future episodes. I usually start this about 15 minutes or thereabouts after the checkered flag of each Cup Series race. We talk about the weekend, talk about the last place finishers. Truck Series, Xfinity, and Cup is the focus, or O'Reilly and Cup, excuse me. Another nickel in the jar there. Yeah, and then we just kind of do that there. We do some trivia here at the end. We do super chats. We do all the fun chat stuff on here. And yeah, do some show and tell. We got Badger here on the show. A little bit of everything here at Last Car headquarters. By the way, if you want one of these hats here, like the one I wear here, New Era 3930 hats, I have them fitted in 3 different sizes. Those are available at the lastcar.info store. If you go to lastcar.info and click store at the top of the page, you can check that out at the same time. I almost thought about calling the store Airspeed just instead of a shop or something, but I think that would confuse too many people on that one. Maybe not now that they've won the Daytona 500, but we'll see. Yeah, Tyler Reddick thanking all the boys at the Airspeed instead of the shop. How many drivers had more NASCAR Winston Cup wins than Bobby Allison through 1997 is the question. All righty. Thank you for tuning in, Marcus. I appreciate it. I got to put this mic arm down. It's kind of like right in my shot when I'm looking at the chat here. There we go. That's a little better. No, I appreciate that, big all caps. Yeah, if you're ever interested in being a moderator, let me know too, because we have, for anybody else that's open to it there. We do have some issues with that here and there, but thankfully not too much. Our moderators are quite good here. How many drivers had more NASCAR Winston Cup wins than Bobby Allison through 1997? And the answer is 2. 2 is the answer through 1997. At least according to this here. A lot of you got that. 611 Hornet, you got it. Jimmy, Armour, Auto Rockin' Racing, you got it there as well. Matthew W. Teasley, you named both of them, Richard and David, yep. What's my all-time favorite 500 Armour? Good question. You know, I always go with the 2005 race because I remember just really enjoying all the events leading up to it. This one's right up there. 2001 was like that until, of course, what happened at the end. But 2005 is a very it's one people sleep on. That one had a lot of really interesting stories, great underdogs, really strong field, really big names going for the win right at the end that Jeff Gordon prevailed over. Great duels, great truck race. I think a decent O'Reilly race that weekend. Good weather. And on top of all that, won tickets to watching it at a movie theater in Orange County, where we had about a dozen other race fans in there and that watched it. And that was marketed really well. That was the year that they printed, they had special Pringles that had printed NASCAR stats on them. And I slammed way too many stacks of those that time. It was just wonderful. They say 2007 or 2006 is like the peak. I think 2005 might have been the peak in that one. To me, that feels like it. That one I come back to a lot. Although I watched the 2011 race over this offseason, the one that was sponsored by our good friend over at Doorstop Nation, Mr. Joe Lauricente. That was a lot of fun. That 2011 race was great. And there was a lot of great storylines into that and a great speed weeks. So that one definitely counts too. But 2 is the correct answer on that one. And a lot of you got that one. on that. Let's see. Next question. Whose willingness to race anywhere earned him the moniker High Plains Drifter? So let me read that again. Whose willingness to race anywhere earned him the moniker High Plains Drifter? Who is that? Who is that? There we go. I see Riley Herbst, Steven Toronto posting pictures of the car there and also that. Oh, good job. Last time I saw Riley Herbst was at Phoenix, and I was going to interview him, and he saw my hat, and I'm like, nah, I don't think that's going to happen. And I appreciate it. That's totally fine. I'm glad I at least tried for it there. But yeah, hey, if he's coming out here and he's great guns and he's having some good finishes, good for him. Totally fine with it. Totally fine with it. Whose willingness to race anywhere earned him the moniker High Plains Drifter? Whoop, didn't mean to move the camera there. Whoop, Badger, you waking up there, buddy? There you go. High Plains Drifter. We got guesses for Rick Corelli, Dick Trickle, Eddie Bierschwal, Curtis Turner. Want to promote another product? Yeah, it's got to go. Still not a sponsored stream. Still not a sponsored one. It just comes up that way. Well, you figure in this sport, there's more sponsors in this thing than anything. But yeah. I try not to give any free rides on this one, but when you're going to talk about the Chef Boyardee car or the Monster Energy car, it's going to still come up there. 88 is really good. Yeah, Matt Teasley, I'm with you on that. Ward in 02, that's a good one. That's like a Comfort 500. That's very good. That makes me think of watching it in the common room in my dorm in college after going by Carl's Jr. on the way over. That was fun. That was a good day. That was a very good day. Not so much for Sterling Marlin, but definitely for Ward Burton. The NBC broadcast was very good for that race. Very solid. It was different from Fox, but it was compelling in its own right. Whose willingness to race anywhere earned him the moniker High Plains Drifter? The answer is Rick Corelli. A lot of you got that. Rick Corelli is the correct answer. Oh, Dick Trickle in social media would have been a blast. I hate that Robbie Gordon didn't get a chance to really make a big use of that, at least earlier in his career. Rick Corelli, a lot of you got that. DE31168, you got it. Jimmy Q7M4C, you got it. Andrew Bremner, 6678. Sounds like I'm reading off baseball or football scores here. And but Frank's Bro 88 as well. You got it. Yep, a lot of you got that. There you go. Very, very good. Let's see here. All righty. We'll just do a couple more here, and then we'll call it good. Oh, Badger's got his paws up here. I was waiting to see if that was shown on the screen. No, not quite. Ooh, here we go. Okay, next question here, folks. What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? Don't look it up. Try to guess it. What driver had 17 career wins on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? That is a question. Yeah, Dave, I recognize your account there too. Yep, that's much easier to say than that one. But appreciate your great work, and I love your archives there as well. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this week's 500 days. The content you sent over definitely helped. So big thanks to you on that one there. So many storylines in that Talladega race. You see why it took about a year to come together, especially with the other videos I was working on. 99 is good. Yes. Armour, that's a good one too. 99 is fantastic. Another very cozy race. Very, very good. What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? I guess it's for Hornaday and Skinner. Those are pretty good guesses. Scott Lagacy, tough. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know about the full race replays there. I don't know what the deal is with that, but we'll find out. a great shot here of Ricky Stenhouse's car getting towed to the garage after finishing second. Sometimes them's the breaks. Looks like it still held off raining even after the race here. I imagine it's, what's the weather? Anybody in Florida here that's in the chat? Let's see what our weather looks like there now. It looked like it was going to be pretty heavy. We'll be checking our weather too. I don't hear it on the roof here now, but I know they say that we're going to get some stuff here this afternoon here on the West Coast. We're up in the foothills near Sacramento, for those of you that are new to the show here. A ways from Sears Point. Sonoma Raceway is our closest track. We're about maybe 2 hours east of there, maybe almost 3 hours out that direction. Where's our weather channel? Let's go to that and find out, shall we? So glad they made diecast of that Dollar Tree car. We got that picked up there just recently for our, we'll have to put our diecast lineup here for the points again. That'll be fun. All right. Let's see here. Okay, yep, 74 degrees and raining. Yep, special marine warning. Increased, heavy from now really through 11 p.m. So yeah, definitely stay safe out there if you're back out there on the East Coast. Looks like there's definitely some heavy stuff going through there. All right. Yeah, it's crazy how big of a state of California is. It really is. I mean, we go to San Diego, we're going to be pretty far. That's going to be, I mean, it's not really a day trip to get there. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, well, more or less. I mean, it's probably going to be about 10 hours to get down there driving. We do drive to these races typically. Not a big fan of flying anymore with what the experience has been. For example, our trip to Talladega and the Rockingham race last year, we drove out there for that. That was a lot of fun. But that'll be... Oh, we didn't do the answer to this question. I'm sorry. What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? The answer is Ron Hornaday. Hornaday is the correct answer. That is correct. What have I learned from today's race? I learned there's a lot to be excited about. That's what I learned. There's a lot. I mean that truly. There is a lot to be excited about. And I don't just mean the last place battle, which is going to be a barn burner too. Yeah, it's, we had a lot of drivers that had roles in this race. We have, we had a big entry list for all three races this weekend. Hopefully a lot of those teams, even the ones that didn't qualify, are going to be able to kind of find their footing this year, whether it's Norm Benning in trucks or the second Viking Motorsports effort that Anthony Alfredo has. We got some interesting paint schemes. I hope we get some really good ones. Chase Elliott's car looks great this year. The new point system, I do feel, is going to change a bit of the culture in the media landscape here about week-to-week storylines, about how the races are broadcast. Again, some have been a bit slower. We saw that in the Truck Series side. I think the Ram and the Truck Series is going to be fun to watch. I'm excited. It's always exciting at the beginning of the year. As I said this morning, and I like to tweet this every year, there is nothing like the morning of the Daytona 500. It doesn't matter if you are at the track, if you are at home, if you are on the other side of the world. It is a special moment, and it really felt that way today. And I feel this was a race that was befitting of that feeling. And the other thing that does is it kicks the season off, and it gets you excited for the races coming up here, whether it's Atlanta or the St. Petersburg Truck Race or COTA or these other venues. I think that's really going to be big. So I think that'll be another one. So yeah, I feel very, very excited about that. And I think it's going to be very interesting. We got some interesting venues coming up, and I hope those venues get celebrated for being what they are, which is good. So hopefully we get there. So let's see. I saw somebody vote for tracks question. So I'll do one more here for the tracks category, and we'll do that to wrap up here for the show tonight. Let's see. Let's see. Not that one. That one's a little bit too easy. Let's see. Ooh, okay. We might have had this one, but this is an interesting one. Alrighty. Yeah, Timmy Hill would have been great for the truck race too. Hopefully they get some good runs there. But yeah, I think it's going to be tricky because of course you got the championship format and you miss this race. I mean, man, you're going to be really in a difficult spot, but it's going to be it'll be tricky. Yeah, NASCAR all out. I'm fully against the yellow line rule. I think I liked that. I think it was Sebastian that pointed out, actually. He had a lot of great tweets today. Pointing out that, if there wasn't a yellow line rule, you could have had people get out of line from behind the log jam when everybody was 3 wide saving fuel. I mean, how great would that be? But yeah. But no, I'm with that too, Armor. Yeah, having this race end earlier, this also, that's the other thing that makes this feel closer to a classic race. This is over. We're going to wrap up the show here about 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. That's wonderful. I don't want to take up, make everybody stay up really late, on this show here or something. Sometimes rain delay happens. You can't help it. But yeah, every race should be like this. Have it earlier in the day, and then you got your day. That's fine. That's the way it should be. So here we go. I didn't even read the question yet. What state is home for the I-80 Speedway and Sunset Speedway? Badger's starting to honk over here. What state is home for the I-80 Speedway and Sunset Speedway? Here, let me get this. Oh, okay. I was trying to pick up the sound of Badger snoring. I think he was waking up. You good here, buddy? Okay. I was going to pick you up, but I think you're still out. Okay. These dogs always like a good lap. That's about it. I'll let people get their answers in here a little bit more. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in here. 143 viewers. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it here. Again, we'll be doing our show next week in Atlanta, and we will talk more racing and keep moving down the season in the regular season of what's closer to a regular season championship than we've seen for quite some time. So we will find out. What state is home for the I-80 Speedway and Sunset Speedway? I'm seeing a lot of guesses for Missouri. I see California. I see Nebraska. I see Iowa. I-80 is Odessa, Missouri, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, Simpsons 800th episode. I'm glad that it wasn't like the Simpsons 300th episode where the 500 was called off from rain halfway through. But yep, got the whole thing in. Had Bart Simpson wave the green flag. That was fun. I was worried the wind was going to blow the mascot's head off there, but luckily that didn't happen. They had that strapped down. I like seeing Kurt Russell in the pace car. Again, good stuff there. Totally fine. Looked like everybody had a blast as well. They should. We're still looking to do it the 500 one of these days. Maybe we'll do it next year when Jimmy's going to do his last race. Maybe that'll be one. We'll find out. What state is home for I-80 Speedway and Sunset Speedway? The answer is Nebraska. Nebraska is the correct answer, and a few of you got that. It's okay. It's okay. Pentertainment, you got it. And Andy Vandergriff, you got it as well. No playoff talk and no as fast as Xfinity, Michael Jensen. Thank you for your super chat for $2. Yep, I like that. See, isn't it simple? Just simple solutions. Doesn't have to be a big thing. It's pretty big to change the point system and the sponsors changing around there. But yeah, how about that? I think that's a wonderful turnaround. So thank you again, Michael, for your super chat on that as well. I definitely agree with you there. So there we go. So tell you what, folks, that will, let me check one more time. We check inspection because inspection is going to run long on this one. It always does. But I don't want to have the show go too much longer on there. So let me unpin this here and we'll check the feed if there's any other call on this. Yeah, we get the interviews as well. Denny Hamlin talking about the sport needing to reestablish its identity. I think today was a good step towards it. This felt closer. We're not all the way there. That's fine. It's going to take time, but this was closer. It was certainly closer. It felt closer like 2017 at least. So, Let's see here. Nope, I don't see a call on inspection there. There we go. So that will about do it for the show tonight, folks. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Congratulations to the race winners today. Again, pending the results of post-race inspection. We'll find out if there's another change for last place here a little bit later this evening. Otherwise, the article will be on BJ McLeod later tonight, the 16th last place finish of his Cup Series career. In the meantime, my website is lastcar.info. My Twitter is at LastCarOnBrock, and my Patreon is patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock. And again, thank you again for everybody that tuned in for both the starting grid and the debut of the newest episode of 500 Days. If you haven't checked it out, it's right here on this channel. So if you need about something to fill about 4 hours of time, that one is definitely there. And the next episode is in the works. More field fillers in the works. More standalone videos in the works. It's going to be a very exciting season. I can't wait to share it with you guys here on Behind the Wall and in the videos coming up. So have a wonderful President's Day weekend. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. Show will be after Atlanta, about 15 minutes after the Cup race, and we'll talk about super speedway racing of a different variety, and we'll find out then. So take care, folks.